Okay. Hold on 1 second. I just want to.
Maybe you want to Shiur.
There you go.
Okay.
Thanks very much. It's recording. Rav, it's re-recording. Wonderful.
You would have to eat after.
Okay.
Yes. Make
Bring
the
your coffee.
Yes.
Okay, then, so welcome everybody after a long time.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if you still remember which Masechet we started.
Yeah, now we remember it.
Sotah.
Sotah. Oh, at least one thing we remember that.
Yeah.
And, just to bring you back to the whole. In fact, it's last week Parshat Naso that was talking about Sotah. Last week Parshat that the woman, her husband suspected her that she had a relationship with somebody else. So there is a whole way how to prove or disprove the allegation.
Hello, is this the Parsha, same Parsha as in Kurtstag?
Yeah, no, because in Kurtstag we had Yontov, so we had the Yontov of Parsha.
We had it
So
you'll have it this week, tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have it tomorrow.
Which one Parsha that you had the last a week ago before Yontev? You have Bamidbar.
Yes.
Okay, so you'll have Imir Hashem this Shabbos. You have Parshat Naso, and then you'll have the full story, which it's a good way when you go to shul. Listen very carefully to the parsha, and when you go home, reread it because it gives you a background to what all this Masechet is about. Okay?
Thank you.
So I doubt if you will remember anything from what we started because we had started along the break. So I will suggest that we should start because only we did the Mishnah. So we all suggest that we start again with the Mishnah in the first page. Amkaneli Ishto. Amkaneli Ishto, if a person is, what is the English, if he warned his wife. He warned his wife that he doesn't want her to have anything to do with strangers, with foreigners. Rabbi Eliezer Omer Mekanel al pi shnayim. So he has to do the warning on the basis that yes, when first of all, what is the process? He's warning her, and he's not happy, so he's bringing her. If he wants eventually to continue with the process, he has to warn her in front of two witnesses. I don't want you to be seen with another stranger person. Of course, privately by herself. This means not, you have to warn her on, by warning in two witnesses. Then, if nevertheless he's got one witness that says that she still was secluded with another, then even one witness that says she was seen with another person after she was mourned, then mashkel al pi yed echad. Then the whole process is, as you'll read in the parasha, he has to bring her to Yerushalayim, to the Bet HaMikdash, to the Kohen, and there is a whole statement that has to be, which the Torah, the Gemora will, in details, it will take a long time with the details, but you'll see that eventually what happened, this was called Maim Amorim, the Kohen will give her to drink what's called bitter waters, and there is bitter waters means it's got the name of God in it, and it's all kind of a mysterious way. And if she drinks it, after she's again being sworn that if she did have a relationship with somebody else or not, she drinks it, and if she denies having the relationship and it was a lie, then she will be punished by drinking this water. She will eventually die. There is no way, not a nice way out to die. But anyhow, so if on the other hand, she did not have a relationship, then of course she will come clear, and not only that, she will be rewarded. If she didn't have children, she'll have children. If she didn't have males, all kind of things will come as a result of this, let's call it magic water. So the Mishnah here says, Amkanel Ishto, if he wants her by warning in front of two witnesses. However, in order to bring her to drink the water, Mashke al pi yed echad, it's enough just that there is evidence of one witness that said that she still had something to do with somebody else, or al pi atzmo, or can be on the basis of his own testimony, that he says, I saw you with this gentleman. Rabbi Yeshua said, no, the mekanel al pi shnayim, umashke al pi shnayim. It's not enough. Yes, he warns her in the presence of two witnesses, but in order to make her to drink, he needs to be two witnesses that can testify that she was with another man. And here the Mishnah says, Ketzad mekadela. What is the way, how does he warn her? Omer la bifnei shnayim. He tells her in front of two, in the presence of two witnesses. Al tedabri mish ploni. I don't want you to speak with this so-and-so person, give the name. V'dibra imo. And she ignores the warning. He spoke to him. Still, עדיין היא מותרת לביתה. She's still permitted to her house, which means there is no any restriction as yet, because we don't know yet if she did or did not. So life goes as normal, and he can still live with her, cohabit with her. ומותרת לאכול בתרומה, and if she is, if the husband is a Kohen, and you know a Kohen gets truma, the agricultural portion which goes to the Kohen, and only a Kohen can eat it, or the wife of the Kohen. So just the Mishnah says, "Mutar l'chol b'truma." There is no any restriction. She's permitted to eat the truma as well. נכנסה עמו לבית הסתר. However, if she entered with this suspected guy, she went to a closed, secluded place, ושהתה עמו כדי טומאה, and there is evidence, either Riso or the two, whatever, that she was with him enough time that could take her to have a relationship, אסורה לביתה. Then it becomes already more serious that she's forbidden to her house. It means she can't live with her husband, because she's now on the cloud that maybe she did have a relationship with a stranger, ואסורה לאכול בתרומה, and she cannot eat the truma, והיא מת, and if her husband died, childless, חולצת ולא מתייבמת. Now, as you know, there is a law that if a person, a married man, died childless, and he's got brothers, then the woman cannot marry anybody else. Either originally, she has to marry his brother, means she has to marry her brother-in-law, or the process or the ceremony of Chalitza, which is all things that she has to, in the front of Bezdin, to take off his shoes, and there is a way out. She has to release herself from the bond of her brother-in-law. But in this case, there is no two options. She cannot marry her brother-in-law because she might be an adulteress, which is not allowed to marry her brother-in-law. So therefore, the only option for her, says the Mishnah, חולצת ולא מתייבמת. Only the ceremony of Chalitza can release her from the bond. This is what the Mishnah says. So the first thing the Gemora speaks about, just the structure, why this Mishnah comes, or this Masechet, this tractate, comes after the tractate of Nedorim. The Masechet, the Gemora before Sotah, is Nedorim about vows, how if a person makes a vow, what is his obligation, what if he breaks a vow, etc., etc. So the Mishnah, the Gemora says, want to know why there is the following of Nedorim is this Masechet Sotah. Michde, Tana Minazer Sali. So, in fact, it was before the last one was Masechet Nazir, which has to do with the Nazirite. Earlier than that was Nedorim. So Gemora says, what is the connection between Lama Nismecha Parshat Nazir and Parshat Sotah? The Torah, which all you will see in in the next parsha on Shabbos. So BMS, that's the question not in the parsha. The question is why the Mishnah, the tractate of Sotah, follows the tractate of Nazir, the connection. So the Gemora, לומר לך, it comes to teach us that, by the way, by the fact that it was in such an order, said the Gemora, there is a lesson here. The Tanya Rebbe Omer, because in the Braita Rebbe said, למה נסמכה פרשת נזיר ופרשת סוטה? What is the connection between the passage of Nazir to the passage of Sotah? לומר לך, it comes to teach you, שכל הרואה סוטה בקלקולה, יזהיר עצמו מן היין. Anyone who sees a Sotah in her state of disgrace, in other words, when she comes to Beit HaMikdash, eventually, and the Kohen applies the whole process to drink from the water. If a person saw this event, he should take upon himself not to drink wine. He should separate himself from wine. You know, it's like being a Nazir, because what is a Nazirite? The Nazirite was that they undertook not to drink wine. So, why is it, what is the lesson here? The Big Gemora want to say that wine is a cause for a person, for a woman, to be able to act in such a way, and therefore you must take the lesson that wine can result in unwanted consequences. So the Gemara says, if this is the case, not Sotah, V'adar nitnu Nazir. So if you say the whole connection between Sotah and Nazir, talking about if a person was present at the Sotah case, he should take a vow not to drink wine, then on the contrary, you should have Sotah first and then Nazir. Answer the Gemora, I did the Tana Ktubot, the Tana Amadir, Tana Nedarim. So there is some logical sequence. There is Masechet Ktubot. Masechet Ktubot is talking about marriages, not so much marriage, but about obligations of the husband to his wife when he's getting married. And then, in this Masechet Ktubot, there is also a chapter doing with Nedorim. When a person takes making a vow for his wife, or if she took a vow to cancel, so the whole in Ktubot is dealing with business of vows. So therefore, because already in Ktubot there is a connection with Nedorim to do with vows, the Haidi Tani Nedarim, Tani Nami, Tani Nazir. So therefore, after the tract of Nedorim, which to do with the vows, then the Tana, the Mishnah was edited to have Nazir because the Dami Lendarim. Because what is Nazirite also to do with the vows. The person vow or to drink. So therefore, this is the connection between the risk. To both Nedarim, Nazir, and then Sotah. Tani Sotah, and therefore, after it, the connection between Nedarim and Nazir, then comes Sotah, like we mentioned before, like Rebbe said, if a person happened to see how Sotah is being disgraced, then he should take a lesson that wine can lead to corruption, and therefore he should take a vow not to drink. So this is the kind of connection how Rebbe, who edited the Mishnah, why he put this order. What? Nedarim, Nazir, Sotah. Now continue the Amekane. Our Mishnah says Amekane means if a person did warn his wife, the Evedin, the Chatchila, it's like, seems to be that there is no recommendation. It's not advisable that a person should warn his wife. The Chatchila law, it's only if the Mishnah says, if it happened that you warned, not like tell him you should warn. Lechatchila law. Kasavar Tana Didan, because our Mishnah, our Tana in our Mishnah maintains Asur lekanot. It is forbidden to warn his wife against secluding herself with another man. Why? Because of the whole process can be humiliating and it's a very, very uncomfortable. Okay, so this is our Mishnah according to this. We'll see later.
What would be his options? He doesn't have too many options. Either he can divorce her or what?
Okay, so
It
maybe.
would be worse, not better.
No, well, depends if he can say to her, listen, talk to her nicely, I don't want. But when it comes, you make it in this process, then you must already know what are the risks. So maybe you're not you have no another option, but you should know what can be the risk. We'll see later the Gemora that sometimes you can, you should, okay. אמר רב שמואל בר יצחק, היה בפתח ריש לקיש בסוטה. רב שמואל בר יצחק said, when Rish Lakish started shiurim on the subject of Sotah, Amar, he gave made a statement, an interesting statement, אין מזווגינו לאדם אישה אלא לפי מעשיו. הקדוש ברוך הוא, we don't say that matches are made in heaven. God, he made the match. So he says, God does not match, or rather, he matches a wife to a man according to his deeds. In other words, what we are talking here, that if a person behaves nicely, then he will be matched with similar. But when you have somebody that you yourself not completely right, you might have a woman which befitting your behavior. He says, he used a posuk, שנאמר כי לא ינוח שבט הרשע על גורל הצדיקים. The posuk says, what is the translation? For the rod of wickedness shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous. In other words, if you would be a righteous person, it wouldn't come to it that you will have a wife that you have to warn her and so on. So here we are talking that to a certain degree, our rabbis want to say, if your wife misbehaves, must be that something wrong with you as well. Because if you are tzaddik, you wouldn't be matched with such a woman. Amar Rabba Bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Now another statement which is interesting. V'kachin lezavgan kikriyat yamsuf. He says that the difficult for God to match up a man and a woman for marriage as kind of, it's like splitting the Red Sea. In other words, that we should not take it as a very simple match man and woman to each for their degree is not so simple. It is like Kriyat Yamsuf. Why? It says the Pasuk Shenemar Elokim Moshe Yechidim Beita. God gathers individuals to a house. Motzia Sirim Bekosharot, he releases prisoners at suitable moments. So what he wants to say here, that talking that in the same way that God took Bnei Israel when it was suitable moment, so marriage also has to be found, God has to find the right people to match. So we believe that match is done in heaven. Not only there comes a continuation of a statement. The Gemora asks, you said that the match of a man and woman is according to the deeds. That in fact, 40 days before the formation of embryo, but Kol Yotzei V'Omeret, there is a heavenly voice issues and proclaims, Bat Ploni LePloni, that the daughter of so-and-so is destined for so-and-so, like Bait Ploni LePloni. This particular house is destined to this so-and-so. Sadeh Ploni LePloni. The particular field is destined to so-and-so. So you see from here that the match is already made while the child is in the mother's womb. Nothing to do with the deeds that we saw according to the Gemora before, that the match is made according to the deeds. We are talking about the embryo, not about the man of it all. Lo kasha. The Gemora
This is old, Rabbi.
What?
Because most probably, in most times, the man is born and is developed to some extent before the wife was born.
So
So how can
the God before born, he already made the matches.
he makes a message?
We believe that everything is done comes from heaven. Even as he said, a house, if you buy a house, it was destined that you should have this house or the field and so on. And so it was destined that you get the wife. We'll see in it. So how comes that sometimes it doesn't work? So the Gemora asks, we said before it has to do with a person's deeds. Here we see that it's nothing to do with it. That the Gemora lo kasha. It's not a conflict. בזיווג ראשון, בזיווג שני. So the Gemara said that there is, if a person marries the first time, he said this was stated before the firstborn.
Rav, you've got 1 minute. Sorry, Rav, I only got a minute left.
Okay, before we finish here, בזיווג שני, if a person now remarries, the second marriage will be matched on behavior. First marriage is done prior. Second marriage is to do to behavior, and this is what the Gemara stops here. So with this we can stop as an introduction to the Tractate Sotah. In the Mirza Hashem, we will meet again next week, Thursday, and Tuesday for Pirkei Avot. Have a nice Shabbos and good Shabbos.
Shabbos.